Hey y'all, my name is Queen Morgana, and welcome back to the Sims 4 Ultimate Decade Challenge. Now, as you can see before your very eyes, someone is alive who wasn't alive before. That's right. Our dear sweet Nura has been brought back to life. Now she is back home. She is safe. She's secure. And she's happy to be here. I think she's still a bit dazed and confused, as she gets used to having a body again and not being dead. But yeah, she's alive. And as you saw in the mini movie, Mary, oh my gosh, Mary took her to, what's going on? There we go. Mary took her to the magic, when she was still a ghost. Mary took her to the magic realm and talked to a lady who was in charge of untamed magic, begging her to teach her a spell. Mary doesn't know any spells. Mary only knows a little bit of alchemy. So, but the person refused and said she would have to like get to know her and know that she was trustworthy. Even though Mary had explained the situation. Um, Ghosts are only within their graves for a limited amount of time, and Mary didn't know how long it was going to take to train to get to the level where she was powerful enough in her spellcasting ability, but also able to learn that spell and properly bring Nura back to life without her ghost, um, transcending this realm permanently. So she was slow on time. So she begged and begged the person even more. And basically that old lady told her that, well, if you follow that portal, it'll lead you to a place called Glimmerbrook, which is kind of a safe haven for people like us. In Glimmerbrook, you will find a forest. Hidden deep within that forest is a magic well. And that magic well grants 3 wishes at a time. So if you go there with this ghost, between the two of you, you'll only get 3 wishes. But keep in mind, be careful what you wish for, because the well could very easily, take something away. Like you don't know what the price is going to be. And Mary was willing to take that risk. Alice asked her and she agreed. Like it's something she would do as well. If she lost one of her children that suddenly, she probably would also do whatever she had to do to go save her. So she and Mary wandered through the portals, found the forest, and found the well. She urged Nura to go first and make her wish, obviously, wish for life. And the well said no. The well refused. And that was about to be it. But Mary had an idea that maybe wishing for life, like out of nowhere like that, was a little bit too steep. So Mary went and she wished to the well for knowledge. Specifically, she wished to have knowledge of that spell that brings ghosts back to life. And the wishing well actually did grant this request. That is the only spell that not Alice, that is the only spell that Mary knows. So Mary cast her spell and Nura was brought back to life. But she could only use that spell once and has since forgotten it. So if somebody else dies, unless she's decided that this would be the point in time where she goes and learns other magic, or she wants to try begging the wishing well again, which I doubt will happen, she won't be able to bring anyone else back to life with that spell, because that knowledge she was granted was limited and she used it on Nura, which Alice is appreciative of. And she's not that upset about it. Typically when people pass away, she doesn't really like to disrupt that balance, but this was very, very strange to her. So she did it, and she did it for Alice, because she would quite literally do anything for Alice the same way she would literally do anything for her husband and children. Now, off screen, something I did not show was, while all of that was happening, little Amir was having a meeting of his own. So Alice was up pacing around, waiting anxiously for Alice to return with news of whether or not Nura had been saved. But all of Amir's siblings were fast asleep. His brothers were fast asleep, and so was the toddler. So he snuck away into the study. No one ever really comes in here except for him and his brother sometimes. And in his study, he met with the Grim Reaper. Now, the Grim Reaper isn't really someone who could be summoned. You know, he's not someone who can be summoned. He's not someone who even really talks. As we've seen before, he barely even allows people the chance to plead for their loved ones to live their life. I need you to move so I can zoom in on your face. he he doesn't really like to converse with the living, as you see. Now, as we recall a few episodes ago, years ago, and essentially, Amir and his brother took a tiny little trip to Mary's house. Now, what I didn't show, because I didn't really think about it at the moment, but Amir was snooping through their bookcases, going through some of their texts and everything like that. And I don't know if he is, well, now the entire family is aware that Mary is a witch because Alice was brought back to life. But he came across a really interesting book um, in their living room. And it was a book about ancient magics that are no longer practiced by the spellcasters of modern times, the modern being the 1300s. This is pre this time period, and ancient practices that are no longer done. And he was just curious. He wasn't really thinking anything about it. And he came across something that said that basically, if you sacrifice a life to the Grim Reaper, he will once and only once present you with a death flower, right? And obviously he's not a spellcaster. He doesn't talk to spellcasters frequently or anything like that. But he is, I don't know, I think knowing his biological father had passed, and then very soon after he got his hold on that book, while it did intrigue him, I don't really think he thought about it too much until Jacques died. Um, no, a little bit before Jacques died, that year before when the fire happened. So he decided to use the book and test it out. And he placed whatever was, he thought that it would be easy to just get rid of one of his family members who would always be in the kitchen. Somebody was always going to be in the kitchen to get food. However, considering that the fire was directly in front of the stove, it was most likely going to be Alice who would have been set on fire. But Alice had walked away to tend to one of the toddlers at the time, right before the fire had started, and Jacques had just sat down to eat. So it would have been one of them, anyways. But the timing was completely off, which is why he left the house so that, like, if something happened, it wouldn't be connected back to him. When he went fishing, he came back and nobody was dead. They were just freaked out at this weird magic floating fire. But the timing was off, his placement was off, because he's never done this before. He also does not have magical abilities at all. And everything was just wrong. Now, a few years later, he's becoming a bit more and more scared. And I think that this fear began when he died for the first time and was quite literally the only, not the only, but I think the first Seminar family to be, I guess, to have the Grim Reaper show mercy on him, right, and bring him back, because he almost died. He was about to be somewhere else with his other family members and his brother, so and his father. And I think that just really scared him, because that's when he finally took note of the fact that so many of them die all the time, and the Grim Reaper is always around. If it's not for the cows and the chickens, the Grim Reaper is there for one of them. So after that didn't work, he waited a few more months and he tried again. And unfortunately for Nura, she was the victim that time. She ended up being drawn to that exact same spot. And unfortunately, because it was her birthday, that was when the spell finally struck and her life was taken. Now, at first, Amir didn't think that this worked because the Grim Reaper didn't come for a while. But I think Grim just wanted to come talk to him alone so that he's not being bothered by any of the other screaming mortals or anything like that, you know? Especially with the look Amir was giving the Grim Reaper when Nura was dying. Very, very off. So the Grim Reaper came, And as you can see in his inventory, he has a death flower. And the Grim Reaper was like, he was like, I'm surprised you've done this. Nobody has ever done this. Well, nobody has done this in centuries. It's been a very, very long time since someone has tried that ritual in order to get a death flower from my garden. And basically told Amir not to try that again. He said he would honor that ritual this time and gave him one death flower. But the death flower, it cannot be planted, it cannot be reused, it can only be reused once, and it can only be used by whoever holds it. So Grim was like, if you lose this flower or it ends up in the hands of another person and you die, you're just dying. You're dying unless I'm feeling particularly merciful. But with someone like you, while as intriguing as you are, I'm not sure if I'll feel that way again. I'm not sure what made him feel so merciful the first time, but whatever. So, yes, that's what happened. Nobody else knows. Nobody else was there for that meeting. Amir, stone-hearted as always, literally tried to sacrifice his little sister just for a chance to live. I think that it's less of a chance to live and more of a chance to prove himself, because in his mind, everybody dies young, or especially by age 30. In his mind, I don't think that he thinks he can be a good leader of the household if he's dead. He doesn't know that he's about to have a lot of options, a lot of chances to die more than his birthdays coming up very soon. But, as far as he's aware, he thinks that it's going to be his 30th birthday and something's going to happen and he thinks he'll have this flower. So hopefully that is what happens and he survives, possibly going to war, possibly not going to war, possibly dying in the war. The plague is also sometime in the 40s, the 1340s. So he doesn't know that he might be using this flower a bit sooner. He could possibly be using this flower a bit sooner than he thinks. So, but that's it. That's basically what had happened. And now that Nura's back, he was a little worried that Grim wouldn't come. But Grim still came. Grim isn't particularly happy that Nura is back, but I don't think he truly cares because she was not destined to die that day. And he doesn't mind his numbers being fixed, in that way. So yeah, so Nura's back. She's chilling. Her twin Nasir was pretty much attached to the hip with her when she first came back those first few hours and kind of got pried away to give her some space, let her rest. So she wants to go become friends with Mary. She's very, very extremely grateful for everything Mary had done for her. So I'm definitely going to get out this house a little bit today. I'm gonna have Alice weed the garden before I go so that nothing dies after she's done cleaning, because I don't think the kids can do it. Oh, the kids can. Okay. Well, she likes gardening, so I'll give her a little bit of peace and do that. What else? What does anybody else want to do? Okay, well, since her child has come back to life, I'm going to say that this is completed. Yes. Okay. So, let us see. Now, Amir, interestingly enough, I'm sorry if I pronounced this name wrong, girl. Citron Simmer? The homie, talked about how Amir seemed like could possibly be drawn to like supernaturals and stuff like that. I agree. But it's really interesting because he rolled to become friends with Kristen, who was Robert's wife, who was an alien. I'm not sure if he sensed that or what, because he really wasn't that interested in talking to their kids, but I don't know. Whatever. Stefan also wants to become friends with Mary, probably to thank her as well for saving his little sister's life. And so does Nasir. So everybody else wants to like praise Mary and get to know her. And Amir does not care. Amir's probably more annoyed with Mary more than anything because she potentially could have ruined his plans, but I don't know. It somehow or another things worked out in the favor of everyone involved. Very strange, but somehow that's what ended up happening. let's knock on this door and see if Mary's here. Mary is here, taking a bath in a broken bathtub somehow. Okay, so she heard that we had guests. Let's talk to her, ask for advice. This broken thing is going to annoy me. But yeah, all three y'all are just gonna come and spend some time with her. Girl, you sick? She's stuffy. Yeah, she probably got a cold or something. Okay, this took an extremely long amount of time, and it was going to take even longer. I slightly cheated it, but they were close. They're very close. They're literally in here talking to the entire family. Like, besides, there's like 2 toddlers missing. Something like that. I don't know. Nura, are you looking at Jamal? No, you're not. Okay. That being said, it is kind of still early in the day, but it's time to head back home, as we should. The only kid who wasn't here was Amir, and look how peaceful everything was. Besides the fact that he's still a little depressed and sad and scared because everyone died all at once, and he's stressed with these strangers. He's still feeling saddle sore even after all. Not in a horse. Yes, but everyone else is feeling pretty good. He's just getting a little sick with something. That's why he's like that. But everyone's just gonna head on back home, and their mom can get started with dinner, and they can rest. And then tomorrow, we will take Amir to go have a little conversation with Kristen. Look at this nice, calm, happy family dinner that they're all having without Amir. And Nasir is sitting here by himself for some reason. But look at how the cat stinks. But look at how nice and amazing everything is when Amir isn't here to cause terror and sadness. That's all I gotta say. I'm terrified of our heir. He is scary and dangerous, clearly. Oh, let me stop. He's here. I will shut my mouth. It is nice to enjoy a quiet house at night without hearing my children cry in their sleep. Well, Stefan's kind of crying. He feels things very deeply. So I definitely misunderstood him and his ways when it said he was joyless. I thought that that was kind of like in the same stone-hearted realm as Amir. I think it's just he feels sadness extremely deeply, but he does have his happy moments, but he's still stuck on like the deaths of his loved ones. Like he's going to get over Jacques' death in the middle of the night tonight, but he still has like the rest of this year and then a little bit of next year mourning his sister, even though she's like the next room over now. But he feels things very deeply. I'd rather give it to him. He's a lot more empathetic than I thought he was, and I kept going, what's with all these negative traits? I mean, it's I'm not happy for him. I don't want him to be this depressed this frequently, but I'm glad that I don't know. I feel like anything compared to Amir's like random stone-heartedness and like he was willing to sacrifice his sister. He didn't even blink. He was more sad when the horses died than when his sister died. And I'm not kidding. I went back and checked the footage. She had 2 sadness things. It was so sad when Tornado and Pepper died. With Nura, he could not care. He wanted his death flower and he wanted it now. He was looking at death like, you gonna make me out back or what? Like, that's insane. All right, it's next morning, and Alice is up making some food as she does, and Stefan is headed out to work to his job as a shield shiner. Okay. And I was looking at what Alice wanted to do. So she actually re-rolled wanting to have a child. So now that Nura is back, she does want to have another child. Does this mean she's going to adopt a local orphan and make them a smith? Hush, cat. Pumpkin's gonna be dying sometime this episode. I'd be very surprised if she didn't. But, or does that mean she wants to get married again and have another child and get pregnant? I am unsure. I'm unsure. I really don't want her to get married again, but I also don't really have a justification for her to be adopting any orphan children. There also aren't any orphan kids in Hanford on Bagley. Maybe I'll keep this want because I think we established last time that the war starts here. Oh, her birthday's before the war starts. Hmm. That is, in fact, a conundrum. It's a conundrum for sure. If she survives her adult role, Lord, if she survives her adult role, then I will say that sometime during the war she picked up some stray orphans in Hempford on Bagley. If that's what happened, as y'all know, I kind of go throughout the village and keep things on the same track as what our family's going through. So I'll be doing war and death rolls for those families as well. It also gives me a way to kind of like do an extra haul to get Sims out of my storage. So I'll wait till then, but I'll say that she's interested, but yeah, I can't really justify why she would want to adopt children. If Mary passed away, well, Mary's eldest, Mary has two kids who are grown and married who can take care of her children. So I'm not sure. If she makes a friend and that friend passes away with no other relatives, then I will have Alice take in those children. She doesn't really have any friends other than Alice, though. We're being 100% honest. Alice, besides being with Mary, she is a bit of a loner. I'm actually going to take Amir and possibly Alice. I think that this will be the one time, the one time I actually take Alice to talk to Robert after all this time. Because we're already headed over there. If Robert's not home, Alice is staying here. And Amir will still go and talk to Kristen. Still don't know what he wants to talk about so bad, but he will still go talk to Kristen. And cleaning or vacuuming on the floor already clean. Oh, I got a medieval broom, by the way, so I'll put that in right now while I'm thinking about it. But yes, I still don't know what Robert wanted to talk about all this time for all these years that was so important. My mods are clearly trying to tell me something. Alice doesn't have an appointment with the psychiatrist yet. Maybe this is something that should be done sooner than later. I would love to get Alice mental health help. That doesn't exist for another few centuries, unfortunately. So she's just gonna have to like live with it or attend a religious ceremony. Those are her only two options. I would love to get her proper help though, but that doesn't exist. So this bow is quite literally like his size. He's practicing his bow and arrow. I'm imagining that Alice is kind of teaching him simultaneously while she's doing the laundry. And Willow looks interested as always. He's not doing terribly. Well, yes, he is. Never mind. Oh, there we go. Wow. Look at him. Yeah, he's not doing half bad. Nura and Nasir are about to go pick some flowers together. Well, Nura's picking flowers. She took Nasir with her, so she won't be alone. He's finishing up his snacks, but he'll join her in a minute. So then I'm gonna have Alice do a little bit more laundry, and then we're gonna head on out, which I've said 3 times. I just realized I kind of threw away my shot because Amir has work at 5. So we're actually gonna have to do that tomorrow. Oh, I feel kind of bad because I was trying to get all the chores done, but I forgot he actually has something to do from 5 to 9 every day. So tomorrow, right after breakfast, because a lot of the early chores are done for the day. Alice woke up in a pretty good mood. She's very flirty, and at first I was like, oh, maybe she does want to try being married again. No, she has this trait. Smooth sailing. Alice's love life has been pretty drama-free. No breakups, no cheating. Yeah, it's hard to be broken up with or cheated on when both of your partners are dead, you know? I just think that that's really interesting that she's like, wow. I guess she's reflecting like, wow, I had great husbands. Yes, you did. Look at Amir playing nice with his siblings while his mom is here. If Alice was not here, he'd probably be being mean to Nasir right now. Nasir has a bad cold. It's a mild cold, but a cold nonetheless. He'll survive. It won't kill him, but he'll be pretty uncomfortable for a while. She's extremely flirty. And in the back of her mind, she's wondering if she should be more lenient with Amir. I don't know, if he acts the way he acts now and y'all have a strict dynamic, I feel like if you're lenient, he'll just be terrible in front of you, right? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with this kid. I don't know where he got it from. Because no one in our family was ever inherently bad. Like, people had issues. Like, the worst person, besides Amir, I know he's like 10, but I think that the worst person we had was Matilda. And she wasn't a bad person. She was just a bad mom, you know? Oh, this girl's here, Mary. Mary Shearer. Is your mother here, Mary? Where's the front door? Is this the front door? No, I don't want to switch control. I just want to knock. I mean, not knock on the door. No. Knock on the door. Run inside. It's thunderstorming now? How do we get in here? Can you knock on the door? Okay, that's okay. I just picked on the wrong door and did all that for real. Alice, I think you should make your way over here too. Why is this not the front door? I don't know. Yeah, this is the bathroom. This is not the front door. Is no, wait. Where is she? Where's Kristen? She must have got caught in the storm somewhere. She's not even here. No. This is annoying. She should be here somewhere. There he is. This guy. Cannon. We're gonna pretend his name's like Christopher or something. No. Every time I hear the word Cannon, I just think of Cannon and D. Oh, which is the only like actual classical song I remember the name of, besides Conquistador and Winter. Okay, I remember a few. That's one of the only like old timey ones that I actually remember. Look at her go! Look at her sweeping! This is my first time using the broom wad. Look at her cleaning as her daughter destroys everything else and Amir mops. Alice had a really hard time believing that Amir could have possibly been the one behind Nura's death and possibly, might have not that great relationship with his siblings. But it's hard for her to believe because whenever he's around her specifically, he's cleaning, he's helpful, he's nice, he's kind. But as soon as he's away from them, he's not that person. What are you doing? Read undercovers? Read what? We need to confiscate every book you've ever had. Alright, your sister's doing it, but she's much more trustworthy than you. Alright, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. There is absolutely nothing happening today, especially with the storm. And I don't have anything planned for tomorrow. This whole episode has mostly just been us getting back into our new routine and explaining why certain things happened and what was happening. So I think I'm gonna end this here. I know we technically had Monday. I'm just gonna play through it off screen because honestly, we don't have any birthdays until winter with Amir's birthday. Winter is when things will pick up because then we'll start having birthdays and and the war will start. So we'll be rolling to see if Amir and Stefan are drafted for the war, and then if they survive said war, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm just gonna like I'm gonna end this episode here with 1333, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do 34 and 35 at the same time because let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 34 and 35 might be a joint episode because unless some crazy happens, I don't really have anything planned and there's nothing of note going on besides just taking care of things around us. I'll probably just fill in that space with having the kids go around try to make new friends, especially Nasir and Nura, because they never really got that chance. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.